Oh, I guess, yeah, this is the next day. Alright, whatever. So wait, that entire... What was the point of that then? Whatever. Good. Give him hell, kid. Before long, it's 8 o'clock, and Makina is setting off for her shift at the bakery. Watching the girl march triumphantly out the room, her prototype M8i2 safely stowed in a plastic bag, I nod deeply to myself. Alright then, guess I should get going as well. Yeah, I'm working today myself. Even as I'm speaking, I quickly slip into one of my work uniforms, then swing a full bag of tools over my shoulder. Let's see, 5:30 or so? As long as nothing comes up. Wow, it's so obvious that we're going to be tailing Makina. I guess just no one really knows or anything. Will do. Alright then, I'll be on my way. Suppose this still qualifies as a part-time job, but it's different from the normal routine. Today, I'm working as Makina's bodyguard. I received a full 70 million in advance payment on this one, so I can't exactly treat it like a game. That sort of money warrants a serious approach and professional attitude. Stepping out of the school gate, I casually turn my head to glance in the direction of the shopping district, immediately spotting Makina in the distance. After confirming that there aren't any suspicious cars stopped in the area, I start walking after her on the opposite side of the street. This is going to be an interesting one. There'd hardly be any point to tagging right after the girl. Easier and less conspicuous just to walk her down to the station in the first place, but I have my reasons for taking a more furtive approach. First of all, I don't want Makina to be aware that I'm guarding her. If she knows I'm protecting her, that knowledge would start to influence her actions in revealing ways. Even if I told her to try and act normally, an awkward movement would give it away sooner or later, tipping off anyone who might be observing. If the enemy realizes Makina has a bodyguard, they'll change their tactics accordingly. That wouldn't be much fun from my perspective. The ideal is to keep both Makina and anyone targeting her ignorant of my presence. Okay, that says ignorant. That was just a weird sentence, my bad. Therefore, after following her from a good distance for a while, I begin cutting quickly through side streets to get ahead of her. If I was targeting Makina, I'd spend 7 days at the very least on observation, trying to get a solid grasp of her daily patterns of behavior. Before making any attempt, I'd compile the most detailed possible data I could on her walking speed, route, and typical, I don't even know what that word is, itinerary, whatever, sniper, kidnapper, whatever, any pro would do the same. In fact, I spent some time this morning putting myself in the shoes of an assassin, narrowing down some potential sniping points. I devised and evaluated a few plausible spots, simulating attempts at shooting Makina on her way to and from the bakery. But as a target, the girl is genuinely troublesome. First of all, she's a shrimp, makes for a smaller target, more easily obstructed. Secondly, her actions are frequently hard to anticipate. If the girl comes across some hostesses, I can never pronounce that word correctly, out walking a cute little doggy, she'll without a doubt stop dead and hold a lengthy conversation with the animal. On top of it all, there's that fundamentally whimsical personality. If she needs to make 3 turns to her destination, she'll randomly change the road she uses, so it's hard to nail down an exact route. Taking all those negatives into account, there are 2 spots that seem potentially effective. I take out a hand-drawn map from the pocket of my school uniform. It's a detailed sketch of the terrain within a decent radius of the station, with 2 lines connecting hypothetical sniping spots and impact points. The first potentially effective choice is a shot from on top of the pedestrian bridge over the East Beach Line rail track, which provides a good view of the main shopping district area. There's practically no cover to worry about, and the distance would only be about 300 meters, on top of which you'd be hitting the girl from behind, making it easier to line up the shot. Problem is, you'd stand out too much. If you openly set up shop with a rifle up there, even a dim-witted grade schooler would point out and yell, "Look, mommy, it's an assassin!" Considering the risk of exposure, you'd probably have to snipe from under the canopy of a parked truck, but that limit your angle of fire severely, making it easy to lose track of your target in a crowd. Not too appetizing. I do take a look just for safety's sake, but there don't seem to be any suspicious idling cars in the area I marked as suitable for sniping. Snipers need time to prepare. It's not like they're going to tear up, I don't know, fire a shot from the window, then peel out. Oh, tear up, okay. Probably safe to conclude no one's shooting from there today. But there's also the second possibility. A shot from the 8th floor of the parking garage south of Mishima Cape Station, next to the fashion building currently under construction. The structure itself isn't open to the public yet, so entry is restricted. In other words, once you slip in, you'll be able to spread out a pretty sizable shop without any awkward questions from passers-by. Also, since it's a downward angle, you should get a clean line of sight. The target's short stature won't be nearly so much of an issue. However, the shot would require firing between two buildings obstructed by an elevated parking and the Mishima Cape Station itself. No matter where you position yourself, you're not going to get even a 2-meter slice of visibility. What's more, you'll be firing at Makina from the side as she walks past from a range of 600 meters. If you take the time to identify the girl after she enters your field of view, she'll have walked right before you can get a bullet over there. In other words, you've got one chance, and it only lasts a few seconds. Can't see it working without a cooperator following the target, constantly keeping you up to date on her movements. That's really hard to say. Lots of talking here. Stopping just before an intersection that connects my side street to the main road, I peer down at the map in my hand, play acting a blue-collar worker new to the area. And while glancing around as if to search for landmarks, I spot Makina approaching from the left. Keeping the brim of my plain workman's cap low over my eyes, I proceed to gaze in her general direction, not focusing on anything in particular. When you start deliberately darting your eyes around looking for suspicious people, you tend to get tunnel vision. Actually, end up missing more than you would otherwise. On the other hand, when you take in the scene as a whole, like you're appreciating a work of art, people moving in unusual ways will stand out as if painted in vivid hues. Right now, we're near the very tail end of the morning rush to work. There aren't many people on the streets. Among the sparse crowd, one man quickly catches my eye. He's strolling along behind Makina, shooting her regular glances while putting on a great show of casually looking around the area. Complete amateur, any way you look at him. The tale's comically awful. I've seen love-struck middle schoolers stalking their crushes with more subtlety. God damn it. At a glance, the guy seems to be in his late 20s or early 30s. He's wearing a 3,000 yen pair of loafers and a 2 for 30,000 suit. He's also got a pair of eyeglasses with unusually thick black rims, perhaps as an attempt at disguise, but counterproductively, they make him stand out in the crowd. I could almost just leave this be, not like he's going to get anything worthwhile, but even so, I'd like to know who this kid belongs to. Folding the map into a neat square and putting it away in my chest pocket, I casually step into a nearby Busky Robinson ice cream store. Later that day, like 15 minutes since this last title screen. Oh! 午前8時15分対象者の追尾を開始記録者伊原直之 Oh, so we're following the guy that actually is tailing her. All right. Muttering into the mic of the IC recorder set up in the inside pocket of his jacket, Ihara followed the girl from behind with his eyes. For crying out loud, why did it turn out like this? It had been a year and a half since Ihara resigned his previous position in the security company and took a job at the IGS detective agency through a friend's recommendation. Detective work had appealed strongly to Ihara since childhood. He did, of course, understand by now that a real Flatfoot's job wasn't the hard-boiled stuff from the stories. But changing the title on his business card from guard to investigator proved too tempting to pass up. However, even after 3 long months of training, he was relegated, to sorting raw material, processing documents, and other desk work. And the rare field work that trickled down to him tended to be odd jobs like investigating adultery or searching for lost pets. He'd spend the better part of a year waiting unhappily for a chance to flex his muscles a little. Just as he was starting to feel something like regret at ditching the security guard position, a senior employee abruptly stopped by and said, "Chief wants to see you. Get a move on. Your clothes are fine as they are." Ihara's first reaction had been to tilt his head in confusion and try to remember if he'd screwed anything up lately. But then the man leaned down and whispered, "Seems like you're getting a pretty important job." He'd honestly been pretty damn excited for the chance to get some real work, thrilled even, until he learned the important job amounted to stalking a little girl. More than a bit of a letdown. That said, this Irisu Makina kid, currently tromping along the sidewalk 8 meters or so ahead of him, was certainly keeping Ihara on his toes. The girl was constantly glancing around the area as she walked, if something caught her eye, she'd often come to an abrupt and total halt. Keeping a constant distance was proving very difficult, and even worse, she seemed to have a habit of glancing briefly behind her every time she turned a corner, never failing to startle him. It almost seemed like she might just have... God damn it. It almost seemed like she might have just a terrible sense of direction. That constantly moving gaze could be her memorizing the area, and turning around might be an attempt to imagine the trip back home ahead of time. But according to the documents, Irisu Makina had been living in this city for nearly a year. It was hard to imagine getting lost would be a big issue at this point. Was she simply one of those ADHD kids or whatever? If you looked at her behavior as deliberate acts of caution, you could almost see her as a well-trained spy. But Ihara knew he was probably deluding himself on that one. Just some part of him trying to make this more interesting than it really was. In reality, Irisu Makina didn't project the fierce predatory menace of a trained agent. God damn it, sorry guys. Really difficult to speak this fast, and this much. If anything, she looked more like a nervous little chipmunk, fearful of everything around her. The girl had come to a sudden stop. She seemed to be peering into the LCD screen of a small electronic toy tied to her belt. Unless he was careful, Ihara was going to overtake her. He knew the girl's destination, so it would still be possible to resume surveillance even after passing her, but for now he wanted to keep observing from behind. Ihara slowed his pace a little, then reached into his inner jacket pocket and pretended to search for his cell phone. "What are you doing? Hurry up and get walking." At this rate, he was going to walk right on by her. It'd be hard to stay out of his target's field of vision much longer. At this point, maybe abandoning the surveillance outright would be best? It would be easy enough to take out his phone, check his mail, then abruptly turn around as if called back on some urgent errand. What do I do? Time to call it a day? 5 meters from his target, Ihara decided to make up his mind one way or another within the next 2 meters. But as he continued his slow approach, Irisu Makina suddenly looked up from the toy at her waist, then broke into a pattering run. Damn it, she's completely unpredictable. What now? Run after her? He knew the girl was headed to the bakery, so it probably wasn't strictly necessary, but there wasn't much point in a surveillance mission if he couldn't keep her in sight. Guess I could pretend to be worried about the time. Looking down at his watch, Ihara had jerked with feigned surprise, or find, I don't know, and started to break into a run. But with his very first step, an unexpected impact brought him to an abrupt halt. Sorry. A man in a pea-green work uniform, had suddenly stepped out from a side street directly into Ihara's path. The laborer was wearing a cap of the same color low over his eyes. In his left hand, he was holding a piece of paper that looked like a crude map. "Very sorry. Are you okay?" The man bowed his head apologetically. Must have looked at his map as he walked. Judging from his awkward Japanese, he probably wasn't from around here. For some reason, there was a timid half-smile on his face. When Ihara followed the man's gaze down, he couldn't help shouting out loud. The breast of his suit was covered in thick gobs of ice cream. Wait, what? When he took another look, Ihara realized the man was holding a half-eaten cone in his other hand. Wow, Yuji, you're great. Looked like one of those Pat Pong shower numbers from that Buskey Robinson place the kids were going to these days. Sorry, Guobinda Bio. Speaking cryptic words in a remorseful tone of voice, the man started rubbing at Ihara's suit with his bare hands. I think Yuji's trying too hard here. Apaini? Darimanaton? This is not good. Gathering this much attention on a tailing job was a huge blunder. While warding off the man persistently trying to clean his suit, Ihara hurriedly turned his head in search of Itasu Makina, but the girl was already gone. At least he hadn't been outright discovered by the subject of his surveillance, but continuing to tail her after this would be very difficult. It'd probably be best to withdraw for the moment, then resume shadowing the girl after she finished at her part-time job. Damn, there's racists in Japan too? I thought America was the only place. The man visibly flinched at the word illegal. Finally abandoning his inept attempt at brushing off Ihara's clothing, he pulled his cap down even lower over his eyes. Just! And with this parting remark, the man in the work uniform beat a hasty retreat. Hard to pin down his nationality even. Fresh off the boat from Vietnam, maybe the Philippines or something. Whatever the case, things just hadn't worked out today. Ihara reached inside his jacket to switch off his IC recorder, and in the next instant, he let out another reflexive shout. The slim metal recorder that had been in his interior jacket pocket was gone. When Ihara moved his hand, to the opposite pocket, the cell phone he'd left there was also missing. Disbelieving, he reached out to the rear pocket of his pants to discover even his wallet had vanished. He quickly spun around, but the suspicious foreign laborer had completely disappeared. Now Yuki Ihara fought a powerful urge to lie down on the sidewalk and curl up into a ball. Die. Da Imakaruf. In a narrow, dim alleyway 2 streets removed from the station plaza, a quote-unquote laborer was sitting on a stack of beer cases, humming the Lightspeed General Dai Makarov theme song to him, whatever that was, all the while looking through the contents of a wallet, the fruits of his day's labors. There were 17,000 yen in bills inside. A small purse had another 657 in coins. Not a big haul by any means, but nothing to turn up your nose at. Inside the card sleeve, there was an ATM card from a bank, credit card, patient registration ticket from a dentist, proof of membership at a video rental shop, and driver's license for standard cars, with a gold stripe. Other than that, we've got 20 convenience store coupons. Considering he was walking around with them, doesn't look like these get used too often. Methodical, but a little too much pride for his own good. The back of the dentist ticket revealed that its owner last visited only half a year ago. The man must have been going for regular checkups to have tartars scraped off or what have you. Definitely the methodical type. Ihara Naoyuki-san, eh? Naturally, the back of the driver's license was unblemished by violations. It was a genuine gold license. What's a gold license? If anyone knows or is willing to tell me, go for it. The man snapped open a small aluminum case he swiped along with the wallet, finding the inside full of business cards. An IGS kid, huh? I see.